G'day everyone, I am the man called Kemosabe, the man with the plan from the land down under, and I'm creating a comic. The Company Men, Dead, White and Blue is a 60-page full-colour comic about a CIA-run metahuman strike force burned by their own agency while operating in the Middle East, and their fight to clear their name and stop an imminent terrorist attack. This comic is the first issue of an exciting, action-packed new IP that mixes the action of Suicide Squad with the intrigue of Homeland, Body of Lies and Copra. With art by some of the best indie talent in South America, and a script by me, this comic promises to be the breakout hit of 2021. The sign-up page link for the campaign is in the description below. Backers who sign up go in the running for the chance to win original art pages from the comic itself. I hope you'll be motivated to join me on this journey, to trust me with a portion of your time, your money, and in return, I'll make the best comic book I can, in the hope it entertains you in a way modern comics so often fail to do. G'day everyone, I am the man called Kemosabe, the man with the plan from the land down under, and this is my review of The Flock by Scott Molson and Gino Casamiento. I backed this book on the Kickstarter crowdfunding platform, but it didn't reach its goal and the creator cancelled the campaign. He must believe in his product because he then released the first issue for free and planned to restart the campaign in 2021 with more content. I applaud his tenacity and willingness to adapt to circumstances. It was the cover of this book that caught my eye on Kickstarter. A very traditional hero surrounded by bad guys type composition, a main hero and a teen sidekick. I thought it looked like a cool retro style book. The Flock and Gosling was a silly enough name to be fun if played straight. There are a lot of details on the cover I missed the first time around. The way the logo is made up from feathers, the rocket pack on the main character's back, making him more rocketeer than Adam West Batman maybe. As usual, we'll take a look at the story, then talk about the good, the bad and the ugly of this comic. The book starts with a narrator's box telling us the story is set in 1957. In O City in Canada. The Flock is sitting at his desk when his family comes to visit. He forgot he agreed to babysit his nephew, but when the police scanner alerts him to a crime in progress, his nephew, dressed in a superhero costume, demands to accompany him. Apparently his nephew Edward has worked with him as a sidekick before. The Flock eventually relents and they go to a warehouse where a gang of rockabilly thugs are stealing maple syrup. Seriously. Edward falls through the skylight and the duo prepare to fight despite being outnumbered when Jackie, Flock's lumberjack friend, shows up to help out. Presumably he was the phone call the Flock made before he left his apartment, but I missed that the first time round. The trio dispatches the thugs and leaves them tied up for the authorities. A few days later all three are at a fair. Jackie and Huck check in with each other as a blimp appears over the festivities. The leader of the Purple Gang starts firing maple syrup at the crowd as Edward, already in costume, charges forward ready to fight. The story ends there with the Batman 66 style same bat time, same bat channel cliffhanger. This book has elements I enjoy, and it seems to be pushing for that wholesome, slightly tongue-in-cheek Batman 66 Adam West type aesthetic and storytelling. In an age of postmodern deconstruction, it's refreshing to just see a story about good guys and bad guys, with good guys winning and bad guys losing. The art is big and clean with some really nice elements. The trucks in particular are well drawn and the faces are very emotive. Wilson has a bunch of fun little digs at Canada to let us know the story isn't super serious and adds some Canadian flavour. With bland superhero comics, everyone eating poutine and maple syrup being treated like a national resource, which I guess it is, you never forget what part of the world this is set in. There are some cool action panels with nice energy and movement and character profiles in the back, a bit like the old Who's Who volumes DC printed. The art on these is particularly well done and helps expand the lore of the world a bit more. It's just a shame it came at the end of the book. There are some fundamental problems with story pacing, revealing information and transitioning from page to page and panel to panel. A lot of these things might be miscommunication between writer and artist, or caused by time restraints, an inexperienced artist, or a vague script. Some colour might help hide some of these sins. I've seen a lot of crowdfunded books this year that were clearly drawn for colour but released in black and white. I don't know why they don't pay a flatter to lay some single-tone colours over the whole thing. I know colour's an extra expense, but I've seen flatters working from as little as $5 to $10 a page. Flat retro colours would help the visuals of this book immensely. You could even add that little dot matrix pattern you get on old comics printed in colour. That'd only add to the authenticity of this book. I've seen colour swatches online that have all the colours from a particular era of comics, meaning you can match the exact colour of the years you want to emulate. Mostly I think these issues could have been picked up on and resolved with some editing. As is so often the case, there is no editor credit. First-time creators, especially first-time creators, need someone with some experience to look over the work and make sure it flows well, make sure it's easy to follow and it all makes sense. Find a big 2 book by Alan Moore or Frank Miller and have a look at the credits. See the name under editor? Those superstars had editors. You need one too. I need one. Everyone needs one. Indie comics can't afford to be an echo chamber. You need to be challenged, you need to hear what doesn't work, and you need to brainstorm solutions that do. I won't list a bunch of the issues with this book, but even on the first page I was confused. Huck is sitting at the table in full costume. He hears the doorbell, but then he's suddenly in plain clothes looking through the keyhole. He refers to the people he can see as his family and he'd be forgiven for mistaking them as his wife and son. But if that were the case, why are they ringing the doorbell and waiting outside? They're revealed on the next page to be his sister and nephew. Why not have him think, oh, my sister Annie is here with her son Edward, and save us the confusion? How did Huck get changed so quickly? His sister calling him Huck is the only instance of it in the whole book, and I missed it the first time around. I wrote half this review not knowing his actual name. Then I saw this panel where the defeated thugs are tied up and bear a note to the O City Police Department from Gooseman. Is Huck called the Flock or is he called the Gooseman? And his team, him, Edward and Jack, are they the Flock? What is Edward's code name? Where in the comic does it mention it? There are some punctuation errors as well, missing commas, which might sound petty, but people notice, I notice, and it pulls you from the story. It makes the product seem less professional. If we roast Marvel for their many and egregious grammatical and spelling errors of late, since their editors no longer edit apparently, then we can't give indie comics a pass either. Meritocracy is the goal. No special treatment. I feel like the book was a missed opportunity to really tap into that Adam West style of storytelling, something I've been increasingly interested in since I read Wrong Earth. Thieves stealing maple syrup to thwart the International Flapjack Festival doesn't sound out of place in a Canadian Batman episode. The problem is I'm not sure if that is, in fact, what this book wants to be. The Adam West Batman show had plenty of cheeky nods to the audience, particularly the adults, little tips of the hat that let them know more was going on than first appeared. It was able to laugh at itself by playing everything straight. I think Thieves stealing maple syrup only works in that Adam West style. It's hard to take it seriously otherwise. If that's the aim, we need more of those little giveaways. We need the scene and tone set up so we know what kind of story we are reading. I reviewed Hellfighter Quinn recently and said the first page alone gives you so much information with only 3 panels and 3 narration boxes. It not only lets you guess the style and content of the story, but also the tone, the colour. Flock starts with Huck in costume, sitting at a table looking at newspaper clippings. Then his family arrives. That's it. If it weren't for the narration box telling me what year it was, I could be forgiven for thinking it was set in the current year. I need some aesthetic and visual clues to let me know where and why we are. Better, I think, to start in action. Have him fighting some goofy villains with a silly plan that just drips Canada. Make it really clear in a page or 3 what the book actually is supposed to be. Then have him rush home because he remembered his nephew is staying over. Then have him hear the police radio and leap into action. Some sort of mention of Jackie and his deal would be good too before he shows up maskless and fighting crime with a wood axe. I'm personally hoping he's a descendant of Paul Bunyan and has a magic axe, ox spirit sidekick and immense super strength, but I so rarely get what I want. Technical issues aside, I guess I want this comic to be one thing, but I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be. Is it what I think it should be, but not doing a very good job of it? Or is it something else altogether and I'm just imposing my druthers on another creator's book? Most of my stories and ideas come from me seeing a piece of media and thinking I could do better. I do it differently because there are missed opportunities there that creator didn't capitalise on. As always, the only way to know if I'm right or not is to keep reading, and to keep an eye out for the Flock campaign on Kickstarter in early 2021. That brings us to the end of the video. Please consider liking and subscribing and signing up for the Company Men Dead, White and Blue for a chance to win original art pages from the comic itself. Thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.